Today, I'd like to pay tribute to one such individual, a woman of incredible insight, inner strength, and unwavering determination. Who's this amazing woman, you ask? Back in 1822, a beautiful baby girl was born to a young couple by the names of Harriet Green and Ben Ross, a slave couple on Broadus Plantation in Maryland, United States. They named this little beautiful baby Araminta Ross, but affectionately called her Minty. In episodes past, I've spoken about myself. I have shared stories that are close to the spirit of our series. And we have heard from a number of wonderful individuals from various backgrounds with various experiences, sharing their knowledge, their thoughts on matters of importance, such as the advancement of society, and pinpointing some of the areas where humanity continues to suffer injustices and lack of equality, and explaining how their activities and different organizations or programs have helped or are helping progress in all such areas. Of course, we will continue to do that, to have more meaningful dialogue and hear from others who are involved in humanitarian, educational, or otherwise effective and beneficial projects, all for the ultimate goal of attaining further unity, further inclusivity, and further along the path to collective prosperity. Every now and again, I'd like to go back to inspiring stories or just history, true, factual history, the documented parts of what the world has seen in years, centuries, and eras before us is so richly filled with accounts of so many whose often heroic and brave efforts not only have affected their own lives, but have had far-reaching effects for centuries to come. Today, I'd like to pay tribute to one such individual, a woman of incredible insight, inner strength, unbelievable courage, and unwavering determination. Who's this amazing woman, you ask? I'll tell you. Back in 1822, a beautiful baby girl was born to a young couple by the names of Harriet Green and Ben Ross, a slave couple on Broadus Plantation in Maryland, United States. They named this little beautiful baby Araminta Ross, but affectionately called her Minty. As you can imagine, like all other enslaved people on plantations, her early years were marked by incredible hardships and violence. These brutal hardships often included breaking up families and selling off some of the children within a family to other slave owners in faraway plantations. Needless to say, several of Minty's siblings were also sold to distant plantations, and the trauma of being torn apart from her brothers and sisters deeply affected her. So if you haven't guessed yet, the baby girl I'm speaking of was no other than beloved Harriet Tubman. It was after she fled slavery that Minty decided to change her name from Araminta Ross to Harriet Tubman. Her decision to change her name was to symbolize a personal transformation and a break from her past. She wanted to mark her identity as a free woman. The first name she picked came from her mother, whose first name was Harriet Green. She wanted to honor her mother. As for the last name, Tubman, she simply adopted her husband's name, a free black man named John Tubman, whom she married in 1844. So anyway, I'll be referring to her as Harriet Tubman. Tubman began working as early as age 5. She was hired out to different households for various tasks, including child care and like all other children in her situation, she suffered harsh treatment from her masters. She was recounted being physically abused, starved, and denied proper clothing. One of the jobs she was given was to watch over a baby, and if the baby cried, Harriet was whipped. At around 12 or 13 years old, Tubman suffered a life-altering head injury. She was accidentally hit by a heavy metal weight which a foreman had thrown at another enslaved person who was trying to escape. This injury caused her to have seizures throughout her life, brutal headaches, and what she described as vivid religious visions for the rest of her life. Harriet believed these visions were divine messages guiding her path towards freedom and justice. Whatever they were or were not, they did lead her to freedom and to her success in freeing so many more. As a child, Harriet also gained a deep connection to the land and honed important survival skills working with her father, Ben Ross, who was a skilled woodsman. She learned how to navigate the forests and swamps of the Maryland, skills that would later be essential in her work on the Underground Rail. Her knowledge of the train and ability to live off the land made her an expert guide for those escaping slavery. Even though Harriet was enslaved, her family held on to a strong sense of dignity, spirituality, and resilience. Harriet grew up in a deeply religious household, and her Christian faith, combined with her visions, became a guiding force in her life. She developed a deep sense of certitude that she was chosen by God to help others escape the bonds of slavery, and this spiritual connection made her utterly fearless and drove her to act fiercely. She had this belief that she had a calling, that God had chosen her to free other slaves, and therefore she was not afraid of anything, because she trusted that the same God who gave her the calling would also protect her and lead her to success. Of course, the childhood experiences of family separation and emotional and physical abuse, as well as spiritual awakening, profoundly shaped Harriet's resolve to fight for freedom, both for herself and for others, becoming one of the most legendary figures of the Underground Railroads. Harriet's life is full of fascinating and powerful anecdotes that showcase her courage, determination, and intelligence. Harriet soon became known as Moses because of her role in leading slaves to freedom, just as Moses had led his people out of Egypt. She also devised coded songs to communicate with folks she was leading to freedom. One of the songs was "Down Moses." She used to sing that song to signal to those enslaved that she was preparing an escape attempt. The song was based on a biblical verse in the book of Exodus. "And the Lord spoke unto Moses, Go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Let thy people go. Let thy people go. Let thy people go, that they may serve me." The song went like this: "When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard, they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go." It's important to remember that she didn't enjoy good physical health and suffered from severe seizures because of the harsh accident back in her teenage years and all the other physical abuse she had endured in her childhood. But despite her condition, Harriet carried out 13 escape missions, leading more than 70 people to freedom. She also served as a spy and scout for the Union Army during the Civil War. There is so much to say about this brave woman, her selflessness and courage, her lofty spirit and her devotion and respect to the human family. She didn't allow the barbarity of the times to keep domination on people who, like all the rest of us, deserved equal civic and human rights. It didn't matter that she was physically frail, financially poor, and socially devoid of high standing. Her spirit, her intellect, understanding, and devotion surpassed all those lesser inadequacies. Her freedom was the freedom of many. Her success, the success of many, and her inspiration, an undying force that would forever endure in the hearts of people who understand the oneness of humanity. There are so many people like Harriet Tubman who have lived in such dark moments of human history, who have suffered through so much, and yet they had the resolve, they had the volition, they had the willingness, they had the desire to know their noble essence, this nobility with which humanity is endowed. They knew that equality was everyone's right. They knew that this phenomena named slavery was shameful, and they went through ordeals to free themselves and to free others, and their freedom became inspiration for so many to gain freedom in so many things, so many eras, and in so many areas. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us. And if you can engage with us, we would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and help our channel grow. The more you subscribe, the more you show likes and comments. Even if your comment is just one word or just an emoji, it still helps our content. And more people can watch us and contribute and engage, and we can end up learning from them also. Anyway, beautiful people, wherever you are, all of my love to all of you, your families, your communities, your surroundings. Have a blessed day or evening or afternoon, wherever you are. Bye for now. One world, one family. From scattered fragments to global unity, healing our world together.